How's everybody doing? Welcome. We are today talking about serving and talking about how we can use the power that we have to serve other people. But before we get started, let me ask you this question, or maybe two questions. You can talk about it for a second. But if you could have, you might have been asked this question a time or two, and you might have a perfect answer, or you might still struggle with it. But if you could have any superpower ever thought of, invented, you could create one right now, what would it be? Or if you could be a superhero, which superhero would you be? All right, so pause this video. What superpower would you have, and or which superhero would you be? So for some of you, maybe it was like, I want to fly. Maybe for some of you, it was, I want to have super strength or super speed. Maybe for some of you, it's, I want to be able to read someone's mind, or be invisible, or be able to transport from here to Hawaii or here to Disney in a matter of a second. All of us probably have an idea or could come up with some superpowers that we would like, and we've all had different reasons for wanting them. Like for me, I think I would want flying, like anti-gravity, right? Like I could jump up and just chill in the air. Like I wouldn't have to fly anywhere. I could just zoom over to Hawaii, chill out on the beach, and then come back. And even like for me, like I could have any seat I wanted at a concert, right? Like hovering above the stage, just chilling, watching the music. I think it would be awesome. And as I was thinking about this question, I thought of one superpower that, if I'm honest, I think I would want more than anything. And that would be, I think I would want people to like me. I wish like I had the power to make everyone like me. I'm a people pleaser, and sometimes that's a bad thing. It could be a good thing as well, but I would like, how cool would it be if you could just walk into a room and someone gives you this weird look and you like snap your finger or look at them back, and it was like they automatically like, oh, this guy's awesome, or this girl is fantastic. That would be such an awesome power to have. And just imagine though, like, everyone, right? Your coaches, your teachers, your friends, your step parents, your siblings, guys, girls. Like, think about it. How much effort that you and I put into getting people to like us. And just imagine if you didn't have to worry about that or not, or stress about that or not. Think about what it would be like if you even messed up or did something dumb in class or at a sports game, and they would typically look at you and look down on you, but you had the power to change their view of you. It would be awesome. And whether we realize it or not, so much of our effort and energy daily goes into really addressing the question, what do people think of me? Especially like the right people, right? You have a certain group of people you want to impress or you want to be a part of. And this is true not just only in elementary school, middle school, and high school, but in college and even in adulthood. Even me, there's times where I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'm like, well, I got a meeting with this person or this person, so what should I wear? How should I look? Should I throw on a hat because my hair's not doing what I want it to do? Like, we stress so much about that, and we are so concerned with trying to find the leader of the pack, or the one person who's the head of the group, and trying to impress them. And if we're honest, we spend so much time and energy trying to figure out, where do we fit in with that? Like, where do we belong with that? And we're all measuring our standing with everyone else, and we're figuring out, how can we not lose our position? And even though nobody really talks about it, the reality is most of us spend our energy thinking about how we can keep our social standing, and how we could actually boost our social standing. So we got to tell the right jokes. We got to post the right Instagrams. We got to do the right TikToks. We got to sit with the right people at lunch, or whatever it is for your group. It can get exhausting. You got to keep track of everything, and it's Honestly, it's a lot of pressure. And even though it would be nice, we don't have the superpower to make everyone like us or see us as great. And so shouldn't we use the little power that we do have to try to manage our social standing the best we can? Like, that becomes the question. And the truth is, we all care about this stuff. And even of this, that you're watching this video and you're like, that's not me. I don't give a crap about whatever anybody thinks of me. I'm my own person. The reality is we do care at some level. We do have some awareness of that. And we just sometimes just don't like to admit it. And so if you've ever felt that you've had limited power when it comes to making others like you, I want you to know today you're not alone. Like, you're not the only person who's felt that way. I felt that way. I guarantee you the people watching this video with you have felt that way. And here's the thing, like, I want you to know no one has the power to just make everyone like them, right? Not even Taylor Swift, not even LeBron James. Even Jesus, the Son of God, didn't have the best social standing, right? So he had the power. He could snap his finger and make anyone like him, but he chose not to do that. And there's a lot of people, guess what, that didn't like him. There's a lot of people that no matter what Jesus did, no matter what Jesus said, they didn't like him at all. But even though everyone didn't like Jesus, he left an incredible example for us to follow. And he actually has given us the power that he has through his Holy Spirit. And this power, when we use it, is limitless. And so even better, when you use it, it actually has the power to make you care less about whether or not the people you're trying to impress like you. We will always care, but this power, it repositions the desire for people to like you. And so Jesus demonstrates this power in an incredible way in John chapter 13. And so the story takes place on the night that Jesus was going to be arrested. And now you maybe never been to church, or maybe you're new to this church, and this idea of Jesus getting arrested sounds a little weird. Wait, Jesus arrested? But he wasn't arrested for doing anything bad. He was arrested because one of his friends, Judas, decided to turn him over, sell him out to the authorities who wanted him dead. And so Jesus actually knew this was coming, and he knew just before the arrest that his time was growing short with his closest friends. He knew he would go to the cross to die for you and for me, then rise again and ascend into heaven. And so before all this went down, he gathered all of them in a room for one final meal together. And at this meal, Jesus did something that shocked everybody. So pause this video, and I want you to read John 13, verses 1 through 5. John 13, verses 1 through 5. So you look at this passage, and especially in verse 3, this is very powerful because John is telling us that Jesus is truly the most powerful person in the universe. And guess what? Jesus knew that. And he legitimately had superhuman powers. He rose people from the dead. He gave people who were blind their sight. People that were lame, he made walk. So what if you were in his position? What if you had all the power in the universe? What would you do with it? What would you do with that? And how would you act? And how would you treat people around you? And how would you want other people to treat you? And most of us would probably be like, treat me like a king or treat me like a queen. And selfishly, I probably would. And everyone else becomes like your little minions that run around and do stuff for you. And Jesus responded, though, a little bit differently. Jesus responded just a tad bit differently. And knowing just how great and how powerful he was, he wanted to set an example. And what you see in verses 4 and 5 is that he washes his disciples' feet. Like, that's weird. Like, for you and for me, that's really weird. But back in that time, that was the role of a servant. So people would walk around, they would come to a home, they would have nasty, stinky, muddy, dusty feet, and the servant would come and wash their feet before they entered. It was a sign of respect and hospitality, of welcoming, and the servant would do that. And you see Jesus do that for us. That's nuts, right? He has all the power in the world, and yet he chooses to put a towel around his waist, to get on his knees, and to go around and wash his disciples' feet. And this seems strange to us, but he did that because he wanted to set us an example. And maybe you're thinking, that's great. I obviously don't have the power like Jesus. No one would care if I did. All of us, though, regardless of where you think you fall in your social standing, have some power. We have some social power with someone and even over someone, right? Think about it for a second. Look at your own social group. Maybe it's someone who's a little lower on the social food chain than you, or maybe you feel like you're on the bottom, but you still have a younger sibling that looks up to you, that copies you. Neighbors maybe look up to you and do things. You have people in your life that might look up to you and say, I want to be like them, or I want to do what they do. So the question becomes, what do you do with that power? Like, anytime you have influence on someone, you have power. Anytime you have influence on someone, you have power. And anytime someone looks up to you or cares about your opinion at all, that's power. And so the question is the same as one Jesus faced. What do I do with the power that I have? What do I do with the power that I have? And it's the question that Jesus knew his disciples would one day face. When he was not there, people would look to them for answers. People would look to them as influence. And he knew soon after his death, they would become unpopular people because of what people thought about them. And there would be times where they felt like they had no power at all. And what Jesus was demonstrating to them was this: the best use of the power we have, even if it's only a little bit power, is to serve the people around you. Serve people around you. And you know this already, and I bet you can think of a time when someone served you, someone who didn't have to, they didn't owe you anything, they just went out of their way to do something for you. What did you think of that person afterwards? How did they come across? Did you like them more or less? Did you care more or less about their opinion? Obviously, the answer to those is more. When you use your influence to benefit someone else, it only gives you more influence. Your power is then just multiplied. So what does it look like for you to do this? What does it look like for this to put into practice, to use the power that you have to serve others? Obviously, it would be weird if you started washing people's feet. That might be a little strange. Your friends might kind of walk away from you and be like, hey, don't touch my feet ever again. But it could be something as simple as asking a person how their day was and how they are doing. It could be talking to someone who rarely gets talked to or acknowledged at your school or even at the church. It could be taking an interest in someone else who feels invisible. Maybe someone's always alone and you see them. Go figure out what they like and take an interest in them. Maybe it's passing the ball to someone at practice, even if you know they're going to miss the shot. Maybe it's treating someone younger than you as if they're really, really cool. Maybe it's simply giving someone a compliment. You know how it feels when that happens to you. Like, a simple compliment can change your whole day, maybe your whole week. It's like some of those YouTube videos or TikToks where they just scream out of their car door, hey, I like your jacket, or hey, nice hat, or whatever it is, and you just see that person light up. And you have power to influence people. And it might be a friend, it might be an enemy, it might be your brother, sister, anyone. But remember this, big power comes from small acts. You don't have to solve world hunger to have power. You have the power right now to dramatically affect someone else's life. So what would you do what would it look like if you did this? Like, just for a week, just for a day in the week, what would happen to your friends? What would happen to your school? I think for us as a group, this is one of the biggest power plays we can make in the world around us. We can learn to use our power to serve others. And in fact, here's what I want us to do. I want us to adopt one day a week where we commit to doing that. Just start simple. One day a week, I'm going to be nice to my brother or sister. I'm going to try to have a conversation with this kid at school that no one sits with, or I'm going to fill in the blank. And I want to challenge you to do that, because big power and big change comes from small acts. Now I get it. You've probably never thought of yourself as someone that was powerful or having tons of influence. But when you use your power and influence that you have to serve someone else, you can have an unlimited impact. And as we wrap up today, as you jump into some small groups, I want you to think about where you will make that power play this week. Who's the one person that you're going to serve, or group of people? And it might not feel like a big deal, but when you choose to serve, you're following in the example of the most influential person to have ever walked this earth, and that's Jesus. So becoming more like him is the most powerful play you can ever make. Hey, I hope you have a great rest of the time together, and we'll see you guys next week.